were just around 10 towards the end, 10, 12, 14.
Yeah, it's always interesting when a game don't give you too much to play with. Looks like we're off though.
We are indeed off, and I'm still waiting for that sword opening that's apparently never going to happen for me.
Yeah, I think I've only seen a single sword opening in the tournament so far.
They are indeed very rare, but picking up those early 300 rupees is going to be very nice. There's still plenty of other weapons that they can get.
Yeah, and they end up with bombs, so that's interesting. At the very least, that mean that they don't have to farm for any bombs, so that's always nice.
Yeah, neither of our players will have to do any form of early farming here with 300 rupees and 10 bombs. They're already set for Kakariko.
Yeah, for sure. The only thing that the bomb starter can be a little bit tricky is that key rat in the sewers, but except for that, it's pretty basic.
We've definitely seen some bomb strats being developed to handle the escape sequence effectively. So usually players like to pick up a pot there and kill a guard, but there is no reason to do that in this situation.
Yeah, for sure. It's going to be interesting to see what strats they're using. Both doing basically the same thing, but just in a little bit of a different manner.
Yes, different ways to use the knockback from a bomb to hit them into the second one.
Yeah, the bomb starts will always be a little bit slow in nature, just because you do have to wait for that bomb to go off.
It's a little bit interesting there as Mrzwanzig took the damage from the guard, so he didn't get hit by his own bomb. And bombs do a full heart of damage.
Yeah, and getting that extra heart so far is actually pretty good if you want to do like the suicide strat against the rat in the back of escape. It always helps to have just a little bit more health, so you actually can afford to do it.
Yeah, that rat is a major obstacle in the early bomb starts. There's our small key, so the next chest will have an item.
Yep, there's only 2 dungeon items in escape, 1 small key and a map, so the rest of the chest will contain unique items.
And sadly, no boots, no mirror, no hookshot to speed up this process walking back to the entrance.
Yeah, but I think that's pretty basic, so I think both runners are pretty fine with that.
It's just a long walk that you have to do, and there is really nothing happening.
Yeah, this is like the only part of the game that's guaranteed to be linear, where you both have to do the same thing. So this is why we almost all of the time see all of the runners like do the same things, because there's like, you always want to do the most optimal strat, right? So it's gonna be interesting to see how linear the seed will continue to be after this, because the more linear the seed will be, the more execution will play a role in it.
Absolutely, but regardless of what, the early game routing is basically set regardless of what happens. It's always that visit to Kakariko first.
Yeah, that's definitely the most standard way of playing the early seed, for sure, because that's the most item dense area.
Here's the possibility you get an early bow, you head off to Eastern, but I think I've seen that once this tournament.
Yeah, early bow to Eastern. I like that, especially if you get the bow like outside of, like if you don't get the bow from Uncle. I like it even more then because that's the seed really hinting on something in Eastern or Palace of Darkness.
Indeed. In this situation, we're still waiting for that map check. How did that rat not die from that bomb? Oh, this rat is being a major nuisance for Mrzwanzig. Oh
yeah,
dear.
Oh, that's unfortunate. So they're not gonna be...
Oh, it's really unfortunate he has to take a death here. And seeing that fire rod in the back, that's not an item you want to miss out on.
Yeah, that's very unfortunate. This is like the nightmare scenario of starting with bombs.
Yeah, that rat just somehow managed to dodge every single one of them, and several of them actually looked like it would hit.
Yes, sometimes I know if like the bomb hits like straight on in the middle, they can kind of survive it because it doesn't hurt like in the middle for some reason.
And it's sad to see for Mrzwanzig, of course. Taking that effort back to the entrance will result in getting back 3 bombs if it is the bomb item start. So take 2 coming soon.
Yeah, they have the boomerang equipped now, so maybe they will stun the rat this time just to make sure to get that hit.
Indeed, just guaranteeing to get that kill. It is slower, but at this point you just want that rat dead.
Yeah, better safe than sorry at this point.
And Gloin is skipping a lumberjack check here. He will find these gloves though.
Yeah, I can understand skipping it. You don't have the boots yet, so it's not really relevant at this point. And you do have the bombs that you need for Kakariko, so you don't have to like check the bush crabs.
I think the bush crabs here is a good point, since yesterday's seed we did see both players go up there and check lumberjack, and they found the bug net there. And it does seem to be that the rupee and the bomb count may have dissuaded the Gloin from going up there.
Was there a bug net on lumberjack yesterday?
Yep. Also bug net.
Rude.
That seed yesterday was something. Of course, it's a new day, it's a new seed, it's a new match. And Mrzwanzig is now finished off escaping. Long will start off here in blind basement. Finding a very early bottle is very nice for that sticky check.
Yeah, it's always nice when you can route that in your first visit to Kakariko, and another 300 rupee. That's excellent because that means you have all the money you need to check both the bottle vendor and Sora early on.
Yes, they're getting very nice finances here early. It's additional bombs as well, very nice to have. That was just a lone rupee there at lumberjack.
Yeah, so we're definitely not going to see an Aga kill for that one.
Oh, that hammer does mean that unless the moon pearl is on the pier. Okay, never mind.
Yeah, well, that's an very early Dark World, so that definitely give the option on some interesting routing decisions.
Yeah, this seed is suddenly wide open. Okay, well, there's even a source. It's really open right now.
Yeah, it's less than 10 minutes and we have Mafiola in logic.
6 hearts, green male, fighter sword, Mafiola. Can't say I like that one.
Yeah, I don't think they're gonna go for it straight away, but it's definitely interesting.
They do still have all the rupees and all the bombs to make all of these early checks, and even in situations where you get this early Dark World access, some players still just do the standard traditional route, go down and do South Shore.
Yeah, I think that's for sure has a lot of value to it. It's Sphere 1 has a very good chance of having progression, so and having that Moon Pearl already, you can definitely do the fake flippers to get all of the items in the Sora area except for the ledge then, but you can at the very least see what's on the ledge.
Indeed, we also got to see the map check there and all crystals in the light world.
Yeah, that's interesting. It's always nice to see crystals in the light world because the light world dungeons are usually easier and faster to complete, so...
Oh, Gloin looks like he wants to do this standard route. He already has its mind set on the South Shore.
Yeah, I think it definitely makes a lot of sense to do this.
You are quite limited in terms of your health with just 6 hearts, now 7, and green mail heading into the Dark World.
Seven hearts, green mail, well, that kind of sounds like vanilla, right? Maybe you even have less. I'm not sure, actually.
That is vanilla, actually. Sank and 3 pendant onions, 4, and you start with 3, so it should be 7. I don't know my NMG, but I feel pretty confident that they don't pick up any pieces.
Yeah, they don't.
Oh, Gloin is gonna head on over to this mini Moldorm cave. And also just regular Moldorms like these, they do a full heart of damage this early on.
Yeah, it's definitely not the kindest enemies, especially with that random movement.
And it's our second bottle. And some very early silver arrows will guarantee that they don't have to do silver less cannon, but they will have to find that bow first.
Yeah, at the very least they will find the bow before Ganon's tower, so that's always something.
And that is a guarantee with the Eastern being a crystal. We have had seeds this tournament where the bow has been in Ganon's tower. This is not one of those. And now Gloin has to be very careful here, not 2 hearts.
Yeah, the crabs are like... They're kind of like the Dark World enemies, but in the Light World, because they do 2 full hearts of damage, which is pretty insane when you think about it. Most of the times, you maybe just have like 4 hearts when you get to that area.
And I wouldn't have been surprised if Gloin wanted to go back and do a fake flipper there, but feeling I only have 2 hearts, so play it safe, just head east instead.
Yeah, that's interesting though, because they don't have the bow yet. And Eastern is a crystal, and they do have full Dark World access, so... it's gonna be interesting to see, depending on what they find here in Sashla, maybe they just feel happy with just checking this and then move on.
Yeah, definitely. Eastern is often regarded as overworld, but in this situation you have so many locations to check. Oh dear.
Oh yeah, that's an excellent find, and
yeah, I mean, hammer and mitts before you're even going into the Dark World? I mean, you can do this Hype Cave all the way over to Village of Outcasts. How often do you get to see that at 15 minutes?
Yeah, that's definitely not super common.
And as this version of the logic has often been, the myths have tended to be hidden somewhere in the Dark World, so having both myths and hammer this early is quite extraordinary. Will Mrzwanzig head there after Ice Rod Cave? That's an important decision for him. Well, it does look like Hype Cave is its usual self. Yep.
Yeah, this is just a cave today. Maybe all the hype has been hidden somewhere else.
So Astrola may have paid a visit to the cave.
Ooh, some map check. Both Turtle Rock and Mire are pendants, and also Swamp, Mire being the green pendant. And we have Ice Palace and Palace of Darkness as the 5-6 crystals.
I mean, when I think fast seeds, I think Pendant Turtle Rock and Pendant Mire.
Yeah, for sure. It's an interesting one. That does put the possibility of not needing Kana Sumaria for logic, depending on where the big key in Gannis Tower is, and also depending on the key layout in Ice Palace.
Well, about the Ice Palace, you will need flippers to get there, but because of fake flippers, you can just skip the flippers entirely.
Yeah, for sure. If there's nothing in Swamp, you might not see the flippers being used at all in this run.
It's definitely an interesting layout. Gloin will be making his digging, and we have seen Mr. Mrzwanzig just making his check into Hype Cave, so he's skipping Sahaswal up for now. And it is still an item location that you will check at some point, but you can't really blame him for making the call to go into the Dark World right now.
Yeah, for sure, especially with that early mishap in Escape as well. You might be not want to be too it makes sense to maybe skip some locations early on just to catch up.
Especially for Mrzwanzig, knowing he took that early death, it most likely feels like he has to do something to get on edge here. Mrzwanzig will be forced to take a save and quit after this digging spot.
Yeah, and missing the Titans. Well,
I'm not sure if you want to see that.
Yeah, that's unfortunate because you do need Titans to get that one. But yeah, it might not be required unless that's the way to get into Desert Palace.
Or if that's the way to get up to Death Mountain.
Yeah, that could definitely be the case as well. But yeah, I was gonna say missing Titans might be like a blessing in disguise, because sometimes it's nice to just have the Titans as your go mode, but at this point, well, they're gonna miss that flute because of it.
Gloin's gonna pick up a Master Sword here, so that means the sword is off the checklist for items needed for go mode. Just finding... I mean, when you look at the items they have, it doesn't look like they have all that lot, but they don't need that much with this pendant layout.
Yeah, for sure. Items that we know that we're gonna need is like, we need a bow and a hookshot. We might need the boots as well.
And logically the lamp.
Yeah, and flippers as well for logic, but they could bypass both of them. And we will need mirror or book to get into desert as well.
You most likely want to find the book to avoid having to go into a potential swamp. Of course, Thieves Town is a crystal, so just go ahead and do it.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And Mrs. Mrzwanzig heading up to Skullwoods here first, so unfortunately gonna miss that massive sword for the Mafia fight, so might be going for the hammer strats instead.
He's taking the full clear approach here to check these early chests and not rushing Mofila, which you otherwise can do. Mrzwanzig to get the big keys. Is Ray gonna check that chest? Oh, that's a little fetch there with that mushroom.
Yeah, and I do believe I heard someone mentioning that in the... Whoa, there's another sword, so...
It's basically guaranteed tempered for our players to seed.
Yeah, for sure. So Mrs. Mrzwanzig will have Master Sword on Mafia, but unfortunately instead missing the tempered.
Indeed, and this mushroom has an advantage here with the flute, since it's a very easy way to get to the witch.
Yeah, for sure. That's a very fast check with the flute. Might even do it after you do a save and quit, just in case it's nothing good, and you can do like a hard reset, just in case you find the cane later on.
Yeah, and that cane, even though Myra and Turtle Rock are pendants, you may still need a cane if the big key is in Ganon's Tower east side.
Yeah, that's 5 out of 22 locations, so like it's definitely possible. And we even have the opportunity of finding that cane in Ganon's Tower as well.
Oh yes, that is very true. And both players just proceeding through their own dungeons. They're likely gonna be checking the other locations following this.
Yeah, I think that would make a lot of sense.
And Gloin will have the opportunity to do the smiths following his trip into Thieves' Tunnel and Skullwoods. Mrzwanzig is not gonna have that.
Yeah, seeing though as they have not done Skullwoods yet though, they might disregard the smith for now, because they can't pick up the smith and the Mafia both. They have to choose between one of them.
Yeah, it's true. Mrzwanzig here is opting to just utilize as much magic as he can first on Mafia before using the sword. I think one of these bottles is a B, but I can't remember what the other one was.
Yeah, one must be for sure. Ooh, this is that's unfortunate. That was definitely a close one.
Sadly, it was not a fairy in the other bottle, and because of that, it's a fortunate death for Mrzwanzig. And just to add insult to injury, you do not get your magic back upon death.
Yeah, and
oh, Mrzwanzig is even going to take a death warp. Is he gonna leave this for now and come back later?
yeah, it would seem as that's the case, because I mean they got both items. This is not a 5/6 crystal, so you're not gonna get an edge by doing it now, except for like not having to come back.
And Gloin had a flawless blind fight. Oh dear.
Ooh, well, gotta go fast.
Gotta go very fast. I mean, this is just working out extremely well for Gloin.
Yeah, definitely making the right decisions at the moment.
And even having Mitzi, he has King's Tome in Logic. So even if Mrzwanzig picks up the boost, he can't even check that. Everything Gloin's gonna do now will go faster, and I would say it's rather clear at this point that he is in the lead.
Yeah, I definitely have an advantage in a couple of ways at this point. But this is still like very early on, even though we're in the Dark World. Like,
indeed, there's still much to go, and Mofula is not being nice with Mrzwanzig at all. Not at all. The spikes are not being nice. Mofula is not in a good position.
yeah, it's really unfortunate. See what they decide to do. Hopefully they decide to just leave Mofula for now instead, since they have both items.
He's taking his time here, thinking as gloin is trying to get this bomb jump across to the big chest. We'll get it in the end. And I am getting a confirmation here that Mr. Mrzwanzig has in fact forfeited from this race.
Yeah, that's very unfortunate.
This race did not work out the way he wanted it to in the end. Ran out of bombs against the Key Rat, and now 2 deaths on Mofula. These things sometimes happen to all of us, and sadly, this is not really the time where you want it to happen, but that is the case.
At that point, it can definitely feel like you've wasted a lot of time that might be seeming to be impossible to pick up sometimes.
Well, the thing is, gloin still has to finish the seed in order to get his victory, but with that will also qualify him to the next round of the tournament.
Yeah, for sure. I think they still need to clear out the seed, though, but I would imagine that will happen.
It's also uncertain. Yeah, it was a really good fight, but it's also uncertain whether or not gloin knows of the forfeit, and he may still think that this is a fully serious race.
Yeah, for sure. Once you're in the race, you want to have all your attention on your game screen and like nothing else.
Well, gloin has acquired his second crystal. He got the boots over in Thieves Town and the Titansmiths over at Sahaswala, and it's like he's gonna check these spunk locations first.
Yeah, that would make a lot of sense, and well, we'll see what they do afterwards. With the flute, they might... well, they haven't activated it yet, so they might run over to do that.
Yeah, that flute was in a peg cave, so no mirror means that it's not active. Okay.
Whoa, there's the King of Samaria, so that's that sure is something.
Hey, you didn't want to see that.
Yeah, not this early at least.
They still need medallions for Mire and Turtle Rock, so it's still not on your mind, but you didn't want to see that in the first place. And it's not really gonna change gloin's routing in the first place. It's gonna go ahead and activate the flute.
Yeah, but it's gonna be interesting to see where they decide to go afterwards. There is the possibility of going up to Death Mountain now with that flute, but also just checking the Mire Shed is a pretty fast check as well. And you could make an argument that the seed is kind of hinting you to that with the Titans and the early flute.
That is absolutely a possibility. checking the shed and then hoping that you don't have to go back there. And that is the call.
So Bombo is required for entry into Mr. Meyer, though entry into Mr. Meyer might not be required.
It's one of these weird situations where usually you want to find the early medallions so you don't have to worry about them, and sometimes you pick up the bow instead.
Yeah, there's the bow that makes Eastern and Palace of Darkness fully clearable.
I mean, this seed is reaching some insane levels right now.
Yeah, we like at this point we're 2 items away from go mode, or at the very least for like plausible go mode in sequence break mode.
You can avoid the flippers, just fake flipper into Ice Palace. You can avoid the lamp if you know the dark rooms, and that leaves hookshot.
Yeah, hookshot and some way to get into desert, so that would be the book or the mirror.
Yeah, indeed. So 2 items. But at this point, you have so much equipment, just go ahead and clear all the crystal dungeons.
Yeah, for sure. This seems a lot of definitely makes a lot of sense. If you're gonna look for item, you might as well do it in the crystal dungeons that you have to complete.
Oh yes, finding all these beasts today. And now, Palace of Darkness and Ice will unlock the Pyramid Fairy. I feel pretty certain that gloin wants to wait with Ice and hopefully be able to go mode it later on.
Yeah, at this point, I don't think there's a lot of sense going into Ice Palace since it's not in logic yet. You wanna... It makes more sense to check these areas that actually isn't logic, even though some of them still require the lamp. But the lamp logic is like if you can sequence break around it, it's most of the times worth it. This lamp can be in some pretty ridiculous places sometimes.
Yep, that is definitely true. Gloin has already found 2 items over in Eastern, so if next just is the big key, that's a really good Eastern. Nope. Well, this does mean that you have to go the way around to pick up the big key. So after this, for gloin, it's very likely that he's gonna be making a play into Palace of Darkness.
Yeah, I think so as well. We saw that gloin was thinking about taking the portal into the Dark World straight away, but decided not to do it because they don't have that mirror, so they can just flute to number 5 after this instead, and then go up to Palace of Darkness.
And the interesting thing is that even though they have this Death Mountain access, no mirror or hookshot means that they can't really do anything up there, so Tower of Hera is not a visit at this point.
Yeah, for sure. There's only 1 location in logic at the moment on Death Mountain. 2 if you decide to do the Old Man as well.
Yeah, you can do that, but it's still not in logic, so...
Yeah, for sure.
At this level of play, everyone knows how to do that Dark Room.
Yeah, it's definitely one of the easier ones, especially if you have a sword.
And with this Eastern, we'll know that the compass is at Armos. Gloin's gonna use the fire rod here to light this torch, makes the room much easier.
Yeah, a lot of dark rooms can be bypassed in a very fast or easy fashion by using the fire rod.
Gloin is fully equipped for anything that this dungeon can throw at him. You're not supposed to be this well equipped here.
Yeah, you can definitely say that again. I mean, just the silvers alone is gonna make this boss fight pretty much a joke.
That's actually very impressive if you don't get that first shot on the Igor, but still manage to squeeze it in, because it's a really tight timing. And Gloin's gonna pick up his third crystal and likely make his visit into the Palace of Darkness. Of course, the flute just back to 5. Is faster than running. When you're making a play like this, you know that you are confident in handling the dark rooms in Palace of Darkness.
Yeah, sure. And the only, like, you have the maze where you can't use the fire rod, but the maze is not too much of an issue if you practice it. And the turtle room becomes a lot easier with the fire rod, so... It's interesting though with the dark rooms, because it all depends on how much you practice them. If you have practiced them, they can feel very easy. But if you haven't, then they can almost be impossible.
I think it's also in this situation where you don't have the mirror, you want to do a death warp at the end. Of course, also without the mirror makes routing Palace of Darkness a bit tricky.
Yeah. If we see an early big key, we might even see a hammer jump there to do the dark maze.
Yeah, that is possible. It is one of the harder speed techs to do in a run. When you find this first small key, there's still several different options on how you want to route this, and Gloin is still deciding to head over and do the bow-locked side first.
Yeah, it's an interesting choice. I think both strategies are valid. They're gonna... with the boots, they can just bonk up to the front part here. So we have 3 keys already. We have 1 more small key guaranteed to be in the front.
And this feels pretty basic for Palace of Darkness.
Yeah, the way the key layout works is that 4 keys will always be in the first 6 chests here in the front. Just to make sure that you can't key lock yourself.
It looks like Gloin also is not being all that lucky with some of his bombs. Sometimes this is just trading a small key for a small key, but this time it's a vanilla big key. There's a lot of goodies in the back of Palace of Darkness here.
Yeah, for sure. We have 5 items in Palace of Darkness, so all of them are hiding out in the back, or maybe one on the boss as well. I guess the boss is technically in the back as well. Oh boy, there's the mirror. Well, that's go mode. That's a sub 4-day go mode.
No, you need the hook
shot.
shot.
Oh yeah, right.
Unless you can hover.
Yeah, and never mind me. I was just thinking about that mirror so much, I kind of forgot about the hook shot.
I think I've only seen 1 mold or 2 hover this tournament.
Yeah. Yeah, they definitely need hookshot in case they can't hover as well.
Well, now you know, though, you don't have to go into... Well, you may still have to go into Swamp, but it's extremely low priority, and it was low already. I think Glormy has decided clear off the Crystal Dungeons, and then just go into Ganon Tower.
Yeah, that's definitely a valid gamble at this point. So we have Ice Palace on the table, right? You could go into Ice Palace first, just to see if it's hookshot lock or not. Because if it's hookshot lock, then the hookshot cannot be in Ganon's Tower.
Oh, that is true. Ice Palace is quite interesting when it comes to how it works in the logic. Also, in the match yesterday, both our players did go in and full clear ice without the hookshot, so bomb jumps are no problem.
Yeah, and it's another thing that's interesting with that mirror. It does open up more or less everything on Death Mountain.
Yeah, that's also true. And with this layout of crystals, you may just want to do Tower of Hera last. Just to finish off the Tower of Hera, and then it's a pretty quick trip into the Dark World.
Yeah, if you can manage to do that, it's, that would be amazing.
And still, this is 10 Hearts Greemail that we're talking here, and it's not the easiest thing in the world.
Yeah, for sure. They have 3 bottles though, so they could stack up on some safeties, but I mean, a Ganon hugging Greemail, that definitely hurts a lot.
You have the flute, easy access to the witch. Have the mushroom so you can liver it, and since the powder was here in Palace of Darkness, no need to do any reset shenanigans after that. The Dark Room Turtles is, and I'd say it's the hardest dark room in the game. Of course, you do have the fire rod to light the torch.
Yeah, without the fire rod, it's definitely up there.
And you can tell by how smooth that was that he's done this before.
Yeah, for sure.
Just a few more turtles to dodge here in the dark, and then it's time for Helmasaur King. We'll need 17 hits with the hammer in the first phase. And just a single silver arrow.
Yeah, holding up the sword here makes this first phase a lot safer.
I still have to be a bit careful here, it does 2 full hearts of damage. It's a nice final pattern, and we'll pick up the kill and acquire his 4th crystal. And also the first of 2 Pyramid Fairy crystals. There's still a lot of choices here. This mirror does open up desert. There's still that situation where we talked about Ice Palace. There's a lot of items up on Death Mountain. You may just want to do that last because it's an easy access over to Ganon's Tower after that.
Yeah, there's There's so many different possibilities of where the hookshot could be at this point.
We still have the Smiths and the chest. We haven't checked Sora. We haven't checked Catfish, Pyramid. At this point, though, the Crystal Dungeons are likely to be in high priority. That one green rupee is not in high priority.
Yeah, not quite, but I mean, they could have just picked it up and skipped the one on the lumberjack ledge.
Oh yes, too bad about that Aga 1 not being required. But desert it is. Players still haven't found any medallions in this sea, so I can't even enter Maya or Turtle Rock.
Yeah, and I think that's very much something that they hope not to find at all.
And Gloin's gonna start off here with Checkerboard K. And he's not interested with what was inside. I don't think a Gina's was checked either.
Yeah, I don't think so, because when they got here the last time, they didn't have the mirror, so there was no easy way to just route it in.
And they had Dark World access already in Kakariko, so why check a Genus? But I mean, Gloin, he went and checked Sahasrara and got the myths there, so that's not really something that most people were doing in the first place, and boots are required this seed.
Yeah, for sure.
It's still gonna be interesting to see if Gloin is going to try and find the 2 items in desert, or if it's just gonna go straight line molas, and yeah, straight line molas it is.
Yeah, it looks like straight line molas to begin with, at the very least. If they just get like a map or a compass, they might decide to check the 2 items.
And I mean, if you know all the sequence breaks you can do, this is go mode. It's just, can you hover Moldorm 2?
Yeah, since they're still looking in a couple of locations, I would imagine that that's not the case, because otherwise they'll probably just be in full go mode at this point. But there's still a very real possibility of having the hookshot in Ganasar as well.
Yeah, could definitely be there. Not really concerned about the flippers, just fake flipper into ice and dark rooms. Seems to be no problem for Gloin, so no lamp needed.
Yeah, and Gloin did pick up all the small keys here in the back of Desert, so that's kind of an indication that they might go back into Desert to check the rest of the items as well.
I did find that small key in the big chest, and just maybe checking that one close item location must have been an indication that he's still looking for items in Desert.
Very good Silver's fight on them.
Never mind.
And there's the hookshot. Well, now it's definitely go mode. It's all about going fast right now.
Well, this does certainly qualify as a Jet Seed.
Yeah, I would say so.
I mean, almost hitting 50 minutes, you have 2 crystals left that you can go mode, and you have all the items that you need.
Yeah,
you have tempered and silver arrows.
Yeah, and we never even had the possibility of going into any of the pendants.
Yeah, and Gloin does the fake flipper. No flippers required because of this sequence break here. It's not often you fake flipper into ice, but this is one of those situations.
Yeah, and this is going to be a go mode Ice Palace, which is very fast, and then we have Tower of Hera, and then just mirror, go into the mirror portal back into Ganon Tower. So this is going to be a fast way into to Ganon Tower. It's going to be interesting to see how they decide to route Ganon Tower, because if Cold Stare doesn't have a key, that means Kingdom Mario was not required for Ice Palace, so they might be tempted to go to the right side.
Yeah, that's definitely going to be interesting. There's a few small routing decisions left for Gloin. He's also already been over at the Witch, so has all the blue potions he will need. Has the powder for extra safety. So despite this being 10 hearts green mail, just the bottles, the powder, I mean, just basically lacking an invulnerability item at this point.
Yeah, and having the temper, you might not need to have any vulnerability items on Ganon anyway. So, I mean, you can use the hookshot to avoid the fire bats. So.
And this was all set up by finding those Titans myths early in Sahasrara.
Yeah, that was definitely what put all of this into play early on, because without those Titans, you would not get the flute, and then you would not get the bow, and from there on we just keep going.
I mean, just comparing this to the match they had yesterday, where you had to go all over the place, and here's go mode already.
Yeah, we're not even gonna have to check anything on Death Mountain. The only required item on Death Mountain is gonna be the crystal in Tower of Hera.
That's just insane. We won't even check what's inside of Spectacle Rock.
Yeah, I mean, it's a very real possibility that Flippers and or Lamp is up there, so that would technically be required.
Yeah, that's definitely true, but not at this level of play. You can go and line up this spin if you can, and does get it pretty well into the corner. Has to be careful here.
Yeah, it's gonna have to be a little bit careful. Yeah, it's better safe than sorry at this point, I think.
Yeah, he still has enough rupees to just fly back over to the Witch and buy more potions if so is required. And gets a very nice double spins off here. That was just a very good and well executed fight. Early game was a little bit tricky, but edges it out.
And Coaster did have a small key, so the cane was technically required for Ice Palace.
Oh, good thing that cane is put to use then. Will Gloin make a visit to the Witch first? Yep, he will do that. Meanwhile, that little lonely green rupee. You may still be hoping for some nice item here on top of Spectacle Rock, because you can still easily pick that one up. Meanwhile, the old man is stuck forever.
Yeah, he can skip that for another day.
Yeah, we're not just completely disregarding the Spectacle Rock here. Gloin is gonna take the Turtle Rock portal here.
Yeah, I think it's a little bit faster even if you haven't activated before, as long as you don't get dead rocked.
Yeah, I do know about the dead rock lock, but didn't know it like speaking of dead rock locked.
Yeah, that's unfortunate, but it's pretty fast. You just reset it.
It's gonna take this Dark World portal here. There are the flippers, and after that, he's just gonna use the mirror of at Tower of Hera and go in there first, and then just go back in the portal. Hey, there are the flippers. Now we're in logic, except for the lamp.
Yeah. Funny how things work sometimes. And Bombos was required for Touch Rock as well.
So, How many times do you get to go mode Tower of Hera?
Well, it's not very often. I can say that much. But it's always a very nice feeling when you can do it.
Still that question about the basement, though.
Yeah, let's hope for an early big key here.
Nope.
As long as it's not in the basement, I think it's still relatively early.
It's acceptably early, and there we go.
That's nice. This is going to be a very low collection rate, depending on where the big key is in Ganasar.
Yeah, I mean, just no Pendant Onion visits. Death Mountain completely unchecked. Smith chest, the entire Sora area. Gina's Cave, Catfish Pyramid. This might actually be the lowest collection rate this tournament, to be honest.
Open up one chest here on the way up. Probably just... That's a very fast shake, and wouldn't hurt to get Blue Mail at this point.
Yeah, absolutely. It's kind of like that waterfall chest in Swan Palace.
Yeah, more or less.
Moldorm doesn't want to come and play today, however. Still?
Yeah, well, Gloin is very good at playing hide and seek, so...
Yeah, you don't really want to go in there on the far left side with Moldorm's quite tight space, but they get a very nice first spin-off. Well, Gloin has all the crystals, and he's gonna enter Ganon's tower in about 10 seconds.
Yeah, so if you wanna... This is not on speed gaming, thanks for that, because this is gonna be a very, very fast guessing game. So if you wanna guess where the big key is gonna be, well, better hurry up.
I mean, I want like 1 or 2 here. Just make this as fast as possible.
Just go to the right side. The first one is the big key, second is the small key, and then we go up.
And this is definitely on pace for the fastest seed this tournament. I don't know the fastest, but I wouldn't be surprised.
I think the fastest so far has been like a 116 or maybe even a 112, something like that.
Well, we have a forced left side. Those bombs weren't really required. I mean, this city just keeps on getting better. Now we even kill Bob.
I guess that's better.
In my opinion, it is. In my opinion, matters to me and me only. There's finding some rupees in here with these skeletons.
Yeah, so that's number 7, no big key yet, unfortunately.
Yeah, sadly. Oh, still a lot of fighting locations at check. Just finding some small stuff here. Not even finding a lot of keys.
Yeah, that's that for sure is interesting. It's I think it's quite rare to only have one small key at this point.
Well, the only small key that they've acquired from an item location was one on the torch. There we go.
Yeah, and I think that actually, at this point, it should mean Tile Room is guaranteed to be a small key. I might be wrong, but I think that's the case.
Oh, I have no idea how that logic works. Well, the random room maybe will have something big. and something key-shaped.
There's a big key, so we got the big key for Ganon's Tower before 1 hour.
And that's just incredible, being able to find that in item location number 13. And of course, gloin still has enough small keys to head up. I still think he's gonna check chests up on the top.
I'm not so certain about that, to be honest. They still have potions and do have the powder for some checkpoints on the way up, so at this point I would not be surprised to see them skip them. But at the same time, it's definitely a valid option to do it. But how often do you have this opportunity to get such a fast time? So that might just lead them to not checking anything, even if they want to.
Yeah, I mean, he skipped out on that fairy room, which is definitely a bit surprising. I mean, he's doing this gauntlet here with 5 hearts free mail. Very impressive. Just avoiding all the shots and just killing the enemies extremely quickly.
Yeah, switching to the fire rod in this room, that's a very easy way to get the Stalfos. Even deciding to skip the powder and bunny beam just so they can get a better position of the Lammolas.
And sadly missing a third shot with the silver arrow, so will need another phase, but still very well done. So in case you're unfamiliar, then Mola's spawn sequence, as to speak, actually starts in the room next to it. So if you pick up that anti-fairy, it will actually change how they spawn.
Yeah, and at that point, it's definitely makes it a lot harder to get the silver's head, or at the very least to get all of them. And having the boots is so nice as well here in Ganon's Tower. Like, the boots was required anyways, so they would have had the boots no matter what. It's always nice to have the boots in Ganon's Tower. It just makes the gauntlet so much nicer to do. Picking up
all the guards.
Yeah, picking up the full magic here, because they don't have the lamp, so they definitely need it.
Well, there's our first shield. Shield will do literally nothing, and
the
fire one arrow.
Well, that might be the last arrow to pierce Ganon, so...
Well, he already had 30 arrows when he picked it up, so it didn't really count. Unless that arrow replaces another arrow. I don't know how that works.
Let's say it does.
Ooh, Moldorm, come on. There we go. And gloin finding his first arrow capacity upgrade, I think.
Yeah. Well, this is still a very decent, like, this is gonna be sub 10 unless something happens on the Ganon fight for sure at this point.
There's still the risk of poor Aga patterns, but that first pattern was unbelievable.
Yeah, that's a very nice pattern to get the triple. And there's one more hit, so just need 2 more now.
Getting some unfortunate blue balls here. And one more hit. Oh, come on, Aga, be nice. There we go.
Yeah, there we go. So it's only Ganon left now. This has been an incredible fast seed. And also being a fast seed because we had some excellent execution from gloin here as well.
Despite the lack of the book, gloin has read the seed like a book and routed it perfectly and just executed it incredibly well. Oh, that was the same line. That was the same line as yesterday.
That's interesting. I was gonna say, please Ganon, we don't want a long quote right now. Ooh, time to use that first potion.
Yep.
Getting a very nice first cycle on the first phase. But I don't think this was one cycle though.
We'll take some more time here.
Yeah, and has to be careful now. I think a hug at this point would be lethal, but they're past the first two phases, which are the most dangerous.
And there's no need to try and set up a torch glitch here either, since it does have silver arrows, full magic, and another blue potion, I believe. Still set it up after taking that hit from the fire bat.
Yeah, that's quick thinking for sure. That's a very nice position for double. Just one more hit. And there's Ganon goes down. This is gonna be a sub 10 for sure, sub 8 even.
I mean, ladies and gentlemen, this performance here by gloin has been absolutely fantastic, and he will take this with him to the next round of the tournament.
Yeah, for sure. Spam your GGs in chat for gloin. If there ever was an opportunity to spam those GGs, it's now.
And it's an official speed racing time of 1 hour, 7 minutes, 11 seconds, and I feel pretty confident saying that is the fastest seed this tournament.
Yeah, I would think so, for sure.
I mean, wow. What more is there to say? And we are now joined by the winner, gloin. I mean, good game, well played, fantastic performance.
The most fun seed I've ever played. I was just telling Mrzwanzig, after he forfeited, I was like, he probably did what I was worried about happening to myself in the early game. And I was just kind of playing casually, kind of trying to make it go quick, but make sure nothing funny happened and make it go longer than it had to. But then as it got closer and closer, and I just kept getting more progression, then I started to get nervous again because I knew that I was going to have a really sick personal best.
Yeah, this was an amazing time, for sure.
I still finished faster, though.
Huh.
Yeah, also welcome, Mr. Mrzwanzig. That was an unfortunate couple of events that started off the race for you.
What are you gonna do?
Yeah, I saw early Dark World access, but I was like, green mail and 5 arts. I'm going to finish my Sphere 0 and then see what I want to do. I got really lucky and was able to do my favorite thing to do in this game is to enter Dark World with the hammer and the mitts from Hype Cave side, and then just
yeah, it's so good when you can do that.
and then everything after that literally just fell into my lap. It was incredible.
Yeah, were you ever concerned after finding that mirror that you might have to search Ganon's Tower for the big key and the hookshot?
Yes. I was probably what I was gonna do is I was gonna finish off desert, and then probably I was probably gonna full clear ice, because if it had been if I'd still been racing at that point, I might have not full cleared ice. I don't know. It's hard to say, but I probably would have full cleared ice at that point, and then probably, of course, done all of Death Mountain on the way up instead of skipping everything like I did. And then hoped it was in Ganon's Tower, and then left to find hookshot or something, because I can't hover.
Well, something you did, Gloin, earlier was that even after checking the South Shore into Ice Cloud, you still went and did Sahasrara to check that. Was there a thought of going into Eastern after that, if you didn't find the midst or something along those lines?
No, I was just kind of cleaning up all the Sphere Zero stuff that's relatively easy to get, because there's been times in the past where I have, like, I could think, well, if I have the mirror, it's easy to route that in with pod, but without the mirror, I'm like, I might never, if I don't ever get the mirror, I might not visit this for a really long time. And same, normally I might even skip Ice Ride Cave. That might be something I would do, but I wanted to be thorough.
And with this, Gloin, you are through to the next round of this tournament. How do you feel moving forward?
Pretty good. I feel like not to disrespect anyone, but I'm not getting anybody super scary. In the next couple rounds, there are some people that are probably about, just from SRL races, that finish around me, ahead of me, behind me, pretty close the next few rounds. But I don't have anybody that's like predicted to win.
Yeah, we have one of the quieter sides of the bracket.
Yeah, so I'm feeling pretty good. And I was worried, my execution yesterday was kind of bad, and that was all just kind of cleaned up today, fortunately. So I'm feeling a lot better.
Well, do you have any final remarks you want to add, Gloin?
No, GG's. I'm unfortunate of this race ended the way it did, but yesterday was definitely a really exciting race, so that was nice.
And Mr. Mrzwanzig, do you want to make a last statement before your exit in this tournament?
Yes. I don't even like Link to the Past. Why was I in brackets? I don't know, but it was fun. I had fun. Honestly, pretty much all the races I've done, I've enjoyed. It was fun. Fun tournament. Mothula sucks.
Yeah, Mothula is definitely one of those bosses that...
Terrible boss. Should be removed.
Well, while Mothula may suck, Link to the Past Randomizer doesn't actually suck. And we obviously have more races. Just 13 minutes ago, we did have Data World versus Walking Eye starting on the ALTTPR Randomizer stream, and Ruble versus Justin C over on Speed Gaming 4, and just more Randomizer across the days moving forward.
Yeah, there's a lot of races going on today. Started early on today and going on all the way across the later hours of today. But I think we're gonna have to see what this collection rate is as well. It's gonna be pretty low, right? You didn't even check anything on Death Mountain.
Yeah, I'm sorry to say it's not sub 100, but it's low.
I'm so sad right now. How dare you? Well, we're just gonna sit here and wait for that collection, and then I think we're gonna call it off here. So
yeah, if it makes
back and wait.
If it makes you feel any better, the location I checked in Hera and then checking the 4 up top wouldn't have made it sub 100 either.
But I'm gonna say that does make me feel a little bit better.
Blame GT.
And in the meanwhile, want to give some shout-outs to our tracker today. Didn't have too much to do. It's because we didn't really need too many items, but big GGs to Nale for tracking for us today, and also to Hansen for restreaming this race as well.
And also thank you to you, Walter, my co-commentator. It's been a pleasure being here with you today.
Oh yeah, thank you to you as well, and big GGs again to the runners.
Thanks.
So I'm guessing this is a personal best for you, gloin.
Yeah, by a lot. I think my best. Let me actually look here. My best open is 120.16, and my best standard with randomized sword is 123. So significant.
Yeah, for sure. It's very nice when you get a fast seed like this that you still manage to got like both tempered and silvers.
The real question, though, was this also the fastest forfeit of the tournament? Thinking face.
I'm not sure.
You're being so positive.
I mean, what is there to be positive about? It was terrible. I mean, I think it's really funny. There wasn't really much to be positive about in my race. So, you know, you just got to smile at the bad things.
Yeah, have to stay positive in the worst of times.
Well, the positive is now I can get back to playing games I'm good at.
And collection rate 107. That's gonna be probably the lowest collection rate of this tournament as well.
107, 107. Perfect. Couldn't have planned it better.
Yeah, right.
And that is what we were waiting for. So, with all said and done, I've been Mrzwanzig.
And I've been Walter IV.
And we hope to see you all in the not too distant future.